Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to a deep dive where we cut through the complexity to bring you the clearest, most important insights from the source material you share with us.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're diving into something, well, pretty crucial for anyone thinking about their career, their business, or just the economy, really. The World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs report for 2025.
Yeah, and this isn't just, some forecast pulled out of thin air.
Right.
It's actually built on perspectives gathered directly from over 1,000 employers globally. We're talking more than 14 million workers represented here.
Wow, 14 million.
Yeah, across 22 industries and 55 economies. So you can think of it as a snapshot of how the people actually, shaping the workforce
Yeah.
are planning for the next 5 years, basically up to 2030.
So our mission for this deep dive is simple. Give you the absolute shortcut to understanding this whole picture. We're going to pull out the really critical findings, the big forces driving change, which jobs are growing, which ones might be shrinking, the skills you'll need, and what companies and even governments are thinking about doing.
Exactly. Get ready to be well-informed, fast.
Let's do it. So where does the report start? What are the big picture trends?
Okay, so it starts by laying out these major macro trends, these huge global forces that are expected to really transform businesses by 2030. They highlight 5 big ones.
And number one, what's topping the list?
Right. The one seen as the most transformative overall. It's broadening digital access. 60% of employers are expecting this to fundamentally change their business.
60%. That's huge.
It is. And that digital access, it's kind of the foundation for other massive tech shifts, like artificial intelligence and information processing technologies, expected to transform a staggering 86% of businesses.
86. Okay.
And robotics automation, they're right there too, impacting about 58%. So yeah, digital access sounds broad, but it's really enabling this wave of AI and automation that employers clearly see as the #1 change agent.
Okay, so tech is number one. Maybe not a huge surprise there, but definitely some big numbers. What about the economic side? What's the top economic trend?
That would be the increasing cost of living. Half of the employers surveyed expect this to transform their business by 2030.
Half. Interesting.
It is interesting, especially because the report also kind of anticipates lower global inflation overall. But the impact of past cost increases, and maybe potential future ones, that's still a major concern.
And other economic worries.
Slower economic growth is also on the radar. About 42% of businesses mention that.
So how does something like the cost of living or slower growth, how does that actually change what companies need from their people, from their skills?
Well, the report makes a direct link between these economic pressures and a higher demand for certain skills. Specifically, creative thinking pops up.
Creative thinking. Interesting connection.
Yeah, maybe it seems a bit counterintuitive, but also resilience, flexibility, and agility. The idea seems to be that navigating this kind of economic uncertainty requires more adaptive, maybe more innovative approaches from everyone.
That link between economic stress, needing more creativity and resilience, that's really fascinating. It's not just about, cutting costs, but changing how we work.
Exactly.
Okay, what about sustainability, the green transition? Where does that fit in?
It's the third major trend overall, climate change mitigation. Expected to transform about 47% of businesses.
Nearly half.
Yep. And climate change adaptation isn't far behind. That's at 41%. And this green transition, it isn't just some abstract concept. It's directly creating demand for specific jobs.
Like what sort of roles?
We're seeing clear links to jobs like renewable energy engineers, environmental engineers, specialists in electric and autonomous vehicles, that sort of thing. The report even mentions that environmental stewardship, as a skill, is pushing its way into the top 10 fastest growing skills needed overall. So it's having a really concrete impact on the job market.
So the move to a greener economy is definitely a job creator and a skills driver, too. What about demographics, people shifts?
Right. Demographic shifts are #4 on their list of major trends. And there are really 2 big patterns happening globally.
Which are?
You've got aging and actually declining working age populations in many higher income economies.
Yeah.
But then you contrast that with growing working age populations in many lower income economies.
That sounds like a fundamental shift in where the workforce is and what kinds of support are needed.
It really does. And it increases demand for skills like talent management, figuring out where the talent is, how to access it globally. Also things like teaching and mentoring.
Makes sense.
And even motivation and self-awareness within teams become more important. Regionally, it plays out differently too.
Yeah.
Aging populations, that boosts healthcare jobs like nursing. growing populations. More demand in education, think teachers.
Okay, so that's 4. What's the 5th major force?
The 5th one is geoeconomic fragmentation and geopolitical tensions. About a third, 34% of organizations expect this to cause significant transformation for them.
And what does that look like in practice?
Well, it includes things like increased restrictions on trade and investment. 23% cited that. And governments using more subsidies or industrial policies, that was 21%. This seems especially impactful for economies with really strong trade ties to, say, the U.S. or China.
And how does that kind of global tension affect the job market specifically?
It definitely drives demand for security roles. You see network and cybersecurity specialists mentioned quite a bit.
Expected, maybe.
Yeah, but maybe surprisingly, it also seems to reinforce the need for those human-centered skills we talked about earlier. Resilience, leadership, they become even more critical when you're navigating a more, well, unpredictable global landscape.
Okay, so we've got this powerful mix, haven't we? Tech speeding up, economic worries, climate action, population shifts, global tensions, all swirling together. What does this actually mean for jobs? For the work people do every day?
Yeah, this is where the report gets into what they call significant churn in the labor market by 2030.
Okay, churn. Break that down for us. What does that mean?
Think of it like a big reshuffling. It's a process where jobs are being created and jobs are being displaced, pretty much at the same time.
Yeah.
The report looked at formalized jobs, a huge data set representing about 1.2 billion workers globally.
Wow.
And they estimate about 22% of those roles will see significant change. Now, they project 170 million new jobs will be created.
Okay, 170 million new.
But at the same time, they expect 92 million jobs to be displaced because of these macro trends we just discussed.
That sounds like a massive amount of disruption. 92 million displaced. Oh, wait, 170 created. So it's a net gain overall.
Exactly. That's the key takeaway. The projection is for a net increase of 7%, which works out to about 78 million more jobs globally, at least within the scope of their study, by 2030.
Okay, 78 million net new jobs. Where is most of this growth concentrated? Which jobs are adding the most actual people? The sheer volume.
Right. These are often essential high-volume roles. Think farm workers, delivery drivers, construction workers, salespersons, food processing workers, things like that.
Foundational jobs.
Foundational, exactly. And crucially, the care economy is a major growth area here too. Nursing professionals, social work and counseling professionals, they're expected to see really significant increases driven by those demographic shifts we mentioned.
Right, the aging populations.
Yep. And education roles, like teachers, are also on this high-volume growth list.
Okay, so big volume growth in essential services, construction, care, education. But what about the fastest growing jobs, like percentage-wise? Where's the really rapid expansion happening?
Yeah, this is where technology just dominates the list. No surprise, maybe.
So,
Roles like big data specialists, fintech engineers, that's tech talent specifically working on financial services innovation, right?
Got it.
AI and machine learning specialists, of course. Software and application developers, those are topping the list for percentage growth forecasts.
and what about the green transition jobs we talked about? Do they show up here in the fastest growing list?
They absolutely do. Autonomous and electric vehicle specialists, renewable energy engineers, they're right up there among the fastest growing too.
Okay.
And the report makes a really direct link here. It says AI and information processing technologies are among the top 3 drivers for all of the top 10 fastest growing tech roles.
So tech isn't just creating general tech jobs, it's specifically enabling growth in hot areas like green tech and finance tech.
Precisely. It's enabling specialization.
Okay, so we've got rapid percentage growth in these specialized tech and green roles, but also huge volume growth in essential and care jobs. Makes sense. What about the other side of the coin? Which jobs are expected to decline the fastest?
These tend to be the roles that are, well, most susceptible to automation or just becoming less necessary as business processes change. Think data entry clerks, administrative assistants, cashiers, legal secretaries, postal service clerks. Those kinds of roles are high on the fastest declining list.
Yeah, you can really see the impact of digital tools and automation there, can't you, on those traditional admin and processing jobs?
It's a very clear reflection of those macro trends, definitely.
It really puts that churn idea into perspective. New roles emerging, others fading. So with this big shift in what jobs people do, what does that mean for the skills needed to actually do them?
Right. The skills picture is also changing, and changing fast. Employers expect that about 39% of a worker's core skills will need to change by 2030.
39%, still a huge chunk.
It's a lot, yeah. Though interestingly, it's slightly less than the 44% they predicted back in the 2023 report.
Oh,
Yeah.
why the decrease?
Well, the report speculates a bit. Maybe it's because companies are getting more experience with digital tools, with Gen AI now.
Hmm.
Or maybe there's just a stronger focus overall on continuous learning being baked into roles already.
Okay. So which skills are really climbing the charts in importance? I assume tech skills are big here.
Or absolutely. Technological skills are key. AI and big data, networks and cybersecurity, just general technological literacy.
Mm.
Those are the top climbers in terms of projected importance.
But is it only tech?
No, and this is really crucial. It's not just tech. Creative thinking is right up there again. Resilience, flexibility, and agility,
Hmm.
those human skills are seen as increasingly vital, and also curiosity and lifelong learning, that mindset.
So it really sounds like this blend of high-tech know-how and these distinctly human capabilities like adaptability and creativity. That's the winning combo for the future.
That seems to be the core message, yes.
What about skills that are becoming less important, relatively speaking, of course?
Yeah, relatively speaking, skills like reading, writing, and mathematics now, this is in terms of their overall projected importance across the entire workforce, not saying they aren't vital for specific roles.
Okay, important caveat.
Right. But those, along with things like manual dexterity, endurance, and precision, they've seen the largest decline in projected future demand compared to the 2023 data. Dependability and attention to detail also saw a bit of a decline in relative importance across the board.
Again, not irrelevant, but maybe less universally demanded compared to the rise of tech and adaptability skills.
Exactly. Their relative importance across the whole future workforce seems to be decreasing compared to the soaring demand for others.
That distinction is really important to grasp. So, okay, what skills are the real differentiators then? What really separates someone who's set up for success in one of these growing jobs versus one that might be declining?
The report really highlights resilience, flexibility, and agility. Those are seen as absolutely key differentiators.
The human skills, again.
Yeah. And alongside those, programming and technological literacy are also very significant differentiators. Now here is a fascinating little detail, kind of counterintuitive again.
Oh, yeah.
While manual dexterity, as we said, is becoming less important overall, the report found that in the growing roles where it is still needed, a higher proficiency is actually required.
Higher proficiency, so like more specialized manual skills.
Exactly. It suggests there's real value in this blend of high-level manual skill combined with technical ability in certain growing fields. Interesting, huh?
Very. Anything else stand out as a differentiator?
One more thing they noted. Service orientation or customer service is apparently the only skill where the requirement in growing jobs is equal to, or even less than, the requirement in declining jobs.
Ah, that's surprising.
It might suggest some automation impacting those areas, or maybe a shift in how service is delivered.
So even with all the automation talk, it seems like those deep human skills, specific tech mastery, and maybe even higher manual precision where it counts. Those are the crucial differentiators. Speaking of automation and AI, how does the report actually see generative AI impacting skills? Is it going to replace everything?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The report includes some specific analysis on this, even using models like GPT-4o to evaluate the potential for skills substitution.
Okay, and what did they find?
What they found was that Gen AI, currently at least, has very low capacity to substitute skills that require physical execution, nuanced judgment, or hands-on application.
Okay, physical stuff, judgment.
Right. That covers about 69% of the skills they examined. And skills that are really rooted in human interaction, empathy, active listening, sensory processing, those showed no substitution potential currently.
So the widespread fear that AI is just going to take all the jobs, especially the ones that feel uniquely human, this analysis doesn't really support that, does it?
Not in terms of direct substitution of those core human skills. No, not according to this data. Where Gen AI performs much better is with skills leveraging theoretical knowledge and digital manipulation.
Like what?
Things like data mining, complex calculations, translation. The analysis strongly suggests Gen AI is positioned more as a tool to augment human work.
Augment, not replace.
Exactly, making people more efficient, helping with certain tasks, rather than outright replacing most roles or those core human capabilities. The idea of human oversight and nuanced application of AI seems to be the prevailing view here.
That definitely paints a much more nuanced picture than you often get from the headlines. Okay, so given all these huge shifts, the trends, the jobs, the skills, what are companies and maybe governments actually doing or planning to do to navigate all this change?
Well, employers are heavily focused on their workforce strategy, as you'd expect. The number one strategy, global. Accelerating automation is also a really high priority. That's 73%. And hiring new staff who already have the needed skills. That's 70%.
So train, automate, hire.
Pretty much. And many also plan to use new technologies to complement or augment their workforce. That was 63%.
And what about, well, the flip side, downsizing? Is that a big part of the strategy?
It's definitely there. A notable share, 41%, do anticipate reducing staff in areas where AI or automation can take over tasks.
41%. Still significant.
Yeah. Other strategies mentioned include offering remote or hybrid work options, that's 51%, and improving internal talent progression pathways, trying to grow people from within, that's 50%.
It really sounds like training and upskilling are absolutely central to their plans then. But is the workforce actually getting this training at the scale that seems necessary?
Well, the report does show a positive trend. 50% of the global workforce they studied has completed some form of training recently. That's up from 41% in the 2023 report. So, progress.
Okay, that's good. But looking ahead.
Looking ahead to 2030, they did this projection. For a representative group of 100 workers, employers estimate that while many will be upskilled, maybe 29 in their current role, another 19 upskilled and redeployed elsewhere. There's a significant concern. They project that 11 out of those 100 workers are unlikely to receive the training they'll actually need.
11% potentially left behind. Wow.
Yeah, it points to potentially a critical gap in this whole transition. Those individuals could be at real risk employment-wise.
That's a serious number. So who do employers think should pay for all this necessary training? Are they footing the bill?
The majority, yes. Expect to fund it themselves. That's the primary source.
Okay.
Free training resources, maybe online platforms, and government funding are the next most common sources mentioned. But the reliance on government funding seems to vary quite a bit depending on the industry.
Right. So if upskilling is the top strategy, but there's this potential gap, what are the biggest roadblocks employers are actually facing when they try to make these transformations happen?
The number one barrier, cited by big margin, 63%, is skills gaps in the labor market itself.
Ah, so they can't find the people with the right skills to hire or even to help with the training sometimes.
Exactly. Simply not being able to find people with the necessary skills is the biggest hurdle. After that comes organizational culture and resistance to change. That's second at 46%.
Always a tough one.
Yep. Followed by regulatory concerns at 39%. Things like lack of adequate data or technical infrastructure also get mentioned.
That skills gap being number one is huge. So switching perspectives for a second, what about employees? What makes them want to stay with a company through all this change? Does it line up with what employers are prioritizing?
There's actually a pretty good degree of overlap, which is positive.
Like what?
Employees rank things like improving talent progression opportunities, getting higher wages, and having the option for remote or hybrid work highly as reasons to stay.
And those are things employers said they're focusing on too, right? To boost talent availability.
Exactly. So there's alignment there on progression, pay, and flexibility.
Are there any noticeable mismatches? Areas where employees value something more than employers seem to prioritize it?
Yes, one notable one is pension policies. Employees rank pensions much higher as a reason to stay with a company than employers seem to rank them as a significant strategy for actually attracting or retaining talent. So, a bit of a disconnect there.
Interesting. Okay, so given that skills gap is the biggest barrier employers face, what role do they see for public policy? What do they want governments to do?
They really see a crucial role for government here, especially around skills. Funding for reskilling and upskilling programs, that was 55%.
Funding.
And the actual provision of those training programs, 52%. So both money and delivery. Improving the public education system itself is also rising in priority. That's up to 47%.
So a real focus on public investment in skills and education.
Definitely. And interestingly, things like wage subsidies or more flexibility in hiring and firing rules, those seem to have declined in perceived importance compared to the 2023 report. The emphasis now is really strongly on public support for skills development.
It really suggests employers see building that future-ready workforce as a kind of shared responsibility, doesn't it? Not just something they can or should tackle entirely alone.
I think it's a fair reading, yeah.
So how are they actually finding talent now with these evolving skill needs? Is the traditional university degree still the main gatekeeper?
Well, work experience is still the most common assessment method, used by 81% of employers. That hasn't changed much.
Okay, experience first.
But skills assessments actually testing for specific skills that's growing in importance, now used by 48%. Pre-employment tests are at 34%. Requiring a university degree is still common, 43%, but it seems to be less emphasized than maybe in previous years.
Less emphasis on the degree itself.
Yeah, and the report points out something interesting here. While those fastest-growing tech jobs often still require degrees, many of the largest-growing jobs we talked about earlier, like in care, construction, essential services,
Right.
those are often accessible through vocational training or just direct experience. It really highlights the increasing value of what people are calling a skills-first approach to hiring.
Skills first, looking at what someone can do, not just their diploma.
Exactly. It ties directly into everything else, the changing skill demands, the need for reskilling, finding people who can adapt.
That makes a lot of sense. Does the report connect any of this skills discussion to actual wages? Do skills translate into pay?
It does. It includes an analysis based on U.S. wage data, and it correlates wages with the level of preparation typically required for a job, education, experience, training needed.
And what's the correlation?
It confirms what you might expect. Wages generally increase with the level of preparation required. They found the median wage is about 37% higher for each step up in preparation level across different job zones, as they call them.
37% jump per level. Okay. Was there anything notable about, say, gender differences in that wage analysis?
Yes, unfortunately, the analysis revealed a pretty significant gender gap in this wage premium.
Oh, how so?
Basically, men typically receive a higher wage increase when they transition between these job preparation zones compared to women making similar transitions.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like moving from roles needing very little preparation to those needing some, men saw about a 39% wage premium on average. Women making that same step up, only 19%.
Wow, half the premium.
Yeah. And at the higher end, moving into really specialized jobs requiring extensive preparation, women received only about a 15% higher median wage than the level below, whereas men saw a 44% premium for that same jump.
That disparity is really striking and a
Yeah.
critical piece of data from this report.
It absolutely is. It underlines that simply having the right skills or moving up the preparation ladder doesn't automatically guarantee equal rewards. Existing inequalities can persist or even be amplified, even within a changing job market.
Wow, okay. We have covered a huge amount of ground from this report. It really does paint a detailed, maybe complex, but quite clear picture of the future of work as employers see it unfolding towards 2030.
Yeah, we've seen how these huge macro trends, everything from the speed of tech and the green transition to shifts in populations and global politics, are just fundamentally reshaping the world of work.
And while there's that significant churn, jobs disappearing is real, the report does project a substantial net increase in jobs overall, at least in the formal economy they studied.
Right. And the skills needed are definitely shifting.
Hmm.
Digital and tech skills are booming, absolutely no surprise there. But those human-centered skills, resilience, creativity, adaptability, and also green skills, they're becoming equally critical. They're the real differentiators in this new landscape.
And employers, they seem to know they need to upskill their people. They're prioritizing training. But they're hitting real barriers, especially finding people with the needed skills in the first place and just navigating internal resistance to change.
Exactly. And both the employers surveyed and the report itself really point to the crucial role of public policy and our education systems in helping to close those skills gaps, supporting this massive transition. That, alongside the clear move toward a more skills-first approach to hiring.
This deep dive, it really gives us a powerful snapshot, doesn't it? How global employers are viewing the road ahead. It's definitely a future defined by rapid change, no doubt about it, but also one where having deliberate strategies around skills, around training, around talent that seems absolutely key to navigating the disruption successfully.
So, after hearing all of this, what really stands out most to you? What's the big takeaway?
Maybe this thought to leave with everyone listening. If skills gaps are truly the single biggest barrier that employers are facing, and the report itself suggests maybe 11% of the workforce could still miss out on the training they desperately need, what does that imply? Fundamentally, what does that mean for the path forward for each of us as individuals and maybe for the collective challenge facing educators, policymakers, and businesses? How do we ensure this transition is, well, more inclusive?
It's a big question. Definitely something to think about until our next deep dive.